This conversation is about developing your superpower. In the beginning was the Word. See, our parents give us our bodies and our facial features and our physical features, but God give us our voice. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God and dwelt among men. Our voice. Death and life is in the tongue. Most people speak more death than they do life. Our voice. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto you. Oh, come on now. Come on. Our voice. You want to change your life? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. When shall the kingdom of God come? The kingdom of God cometh not by observation. They shall say it's neither lo there, lo here. Behold, the kingdom of God. It's within you. It's within you. Woo, wow. Our voice, the kingdom is voice activated. That's why when you encourage someone, you stir up something in them. That's why when you speak, that you're able to ignite and release the kingdom of stories of greatness and potential and artistry and enable them to expose themselves to a part of themselves that they can't go to by themselves, and that when you spoke, you exposed them to the kingdom of potential in them to live a larger life, to live the life that they were chosen to live their calling. A job is what you get paid for. A calling is what you're made for. And that calling is something that you love it so much you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. Most people are doing things just to get paid. Let me tell you something. When you do something that's you, it's a different kind of feeling. It's a different kind of experience. If you're ready to make money with your voice, with your story, with your knowledge, with your experiences, with things that you've seen, things that you have observed, I got to tell you this story. Listen, you won't believe this. This is going to blow your mind. You won't believe it, and you're going to believe it. It's shocking. It's a drop the mic moment. It's jaw dropping what I'm about to tell you right now. Just let some other people know and say, Les about to say something that you're going to say, whoa, wow. I'm telling you, do it right now. Have somebody else. Listen to me. I will tell you this story. And I'm gonna find a way to make it work for you, all right? Okay, I thought it just dropped in my spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, and this is primarily to men. Brothers, fathers, it's time to step up. Oh, some of you are. You provide and you protect, but far too many don't. My son, my oldest son, was working on his job. And there's a young lady that he knew that he was talking to, and a guy came by and spoke to her, and she didn't say anything. And so when she left from talking to my son, listen to me. This guy said to my son, hey man, what's up with her? I've been trying to get a conversation with her, and she won't talk to me. She's ignoring me. She won't give me the time of day. And my son said, I don't know. So when the guy walked away and she came back, because she moved deliberately, because she saw him coming over where my son and she was sitting. And so my son, Calvin, asked her, why did you move deliberately? And this guy saying he's been speaking to you, but you won't give him the time of day. You know what she said? He is the father of our son. And because he's not involved, because he doesn't come around, he doesn't remember my face. Good God from Zion. Whoa! You can't make this kind of stuff up. You can't make this up. He's been absent. He's a sperm donor. You can't make this stuff up. He's not involved in his child's life. He's been away so long, so absent, he doesn't even remember the face of the mother of their child. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Oh, we have. Oh, boy. You can't make that up. That's heavy. That's drop the mic. You know what Tyrone said? You about to make me cuss, Mr. Brown. If you don't know Tyrone, it's a squirrel that's outside my window. He's taught me squirrely. He doesn't know how to speak English yet, but I understand it. You know, I've been in the house too long. Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, this thing called life is just too much. It's just too much. As Jerry would say. See, part of being able to change what's looking back at you in the mirror is being around the right people. That's major. Being around the right people, having the right coach, the right mentor, having a different kind of environment, having different stuff coming in your ears. Nothing gets through except through the ears and the eyes. This is a time, this place where we are, you have to create a shift in your environment. You want to create an environment deliberately that sets you up to win. If you're ready to do that, so I'm ready to win. If you're hungry, see, the reason that I put in the work to change that guy that was looking back at me in the mirror, I was hungry to win. I was a father, a husband, I had car note and mortgage note. I was hungry to know the best part of myself that I did not see yet, and I was willing to invest in me to make that happen. I didn't have the money to do it, but I couldn't afford not to do it. See, sometimes when it comes to you, you got to become a no matter what person. That whatever it takes, that you're willing to do it. And part of that is to sacrifice that. But when you start talking about how do I leave a legacy? How do I create a presence that when I die, that there will still be conversations beyond 2 weeks after I'm gone? A friend of mine died and somebody asked, hey, I haven't seen Marvin for a few days. Oh, Marvin's dead. He's dead. Yeah. How long he's been dead? Oh, man, about 6 months? Are you kidding me? I didn't know. You know why I didn't know? Because Marvin's life was so inconsequential. His presence was not missed. Now, most people, when they die, their presence will not be missed. But there's certain people, when they go, the word will go out. The word will go. John Lewis, oh, the word went out. Elijah Cumming, the word went out. These are the bad brothers up in here. Aunt Boo Boo, Cicely Tyson, that's what we call her, Aunt Boo Boo. Cicely Tyson, when she took her last breath, the word went out. Her presence was felt. She made an impact. Those brothers made an impact with their lives. We're here to make a difference. Make an impact. If you're ready to make an impact, if you're ready to learn how to do that, to be around the right people, to be in a community of people that will introduce you to a part of yourself that you can't discover by yourself. If you're hungry, you gotta be hungry. And this place where we are right now, you wanna make it? Some stuff's about to happen. The bottom's about to drop out. With 47 million jobs being taken over by artificial intelligence. I saw online the other day, they had a robot jumping rope. I'm not making this up. A robot jumping rope, making salads, pouring drinks. Excuse me? I'm not making this up. This is the time you have to reinvent yourself to stay ahead of technology. This is the time you want to give yourself a competitive edge, because that's what you have to do. If you're around people who are on the same level that you are, who have not done what you've done, that you can't learn from, if you're around people who don't lift your spirit, people who don't inspire you, people who don't hold you accountable, people who don't challenge you, people that you can't learn by, you earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. You around me, you learn how to earn $70,000 an hour or more. Why? Because of the relationship. People rub off on you. Sidney Poitier, I love to talk about him in the book called The Measure of a Man. When you go for a walk with somebody, something happens. Either they adjust to your pace or you adjust to their pace. Whose pace have you adjusted to? And most of us have been adjusting to the pace of people below us. People who have no goals, people who have no dreams, people who are doing the same thing day in and day out. No sense of responsibility, no commitment to their children, no idea of building a vision and living from a life of legacy. When they die and they take their last breath, rather than leaving a legacy, they leave liabilities. Oh, help me, Lord. Can you believe that? This guy trying to have a conversation with a woman and ask my son, when he comes back over, why won't she talk to me? What's up with her? She's stuck up for something? And when my son asked her when she came back, when he left, what's up? What, you don't like him? Well, I know him very well. We had a baby together. And because he doesn't come around, because he never came back once I called him and said, I'm pregnant, he doesn't even remember how I look. And he's never seen his son, our son. I have nothing to say. Whew. As my mother would say, do Jesus. That's what baby Ralph would say. I think I'm gonna land this plane.
Boom. I love it. I want to ask you this question because we teach financial concepts, we teach financial literacy. It's been kind of weird the last couple of years because a lot of people are just plugging in via Zoom or online. But what has been the power of assembling together, coming together? Because we do weekly meetings, we do conferences.
It is so important because we're living in a time, we've gone from brick and mortar to click and order. So the communicators, the storytellers, Steve Jobs said the storyteller is the most powerful person in the world because storytellers can set the agenda for the culture, can influence and impact people. So when you're dealing with a group of people who don't know and think they know, who've been programmed to be spectators and fans, talking about who's the GOAT, who's the greatest of all time, Kobe or Michael Jordan, and can't afford a ticket to a game, to your own life.
Hello.
Who's the GOAT in your life, the greatest of all time? What is it that has to happen for us to see the next greatest version of who you were chosen to be? You were chosen out of 400 million sperm. God had a lot of choices, and he chose you. Don't make him regret it and say, why in the hell did I do that?
So Les, previous to coming to our current business model where we're at today, I spent 8 years in the Marines, and then I spent 11, 12 years as just an individual insurance salesman, personal producer. I was selling life insurance, annuities, retirement plan, whatnot. But I was limited. I was stuck. I could recruit people and bring people into my fold because they were attracted to the money I was making. But I eventually ended up losing people because of lack of retention due to systems and compensation models. But the model that we have right now is a system where we can build teams, we can build agencies across the country, coast to coast. And when it comes to a mindset of just me, myself, and I versus actually building teams, building other people, right? What guidance and advice would you give for somebody who said, I'm so used to just being myself versus actually leading a team with different personalities, different human beings, and different upbringing and socioeconomic differences? What would be your thoughts on that transition?
You know why I'm meeting with you?
Why is that, Les?
Because of you. Ed called me. 95% of all organizations who build strong, sustainable, competitive groups and do market takeaways have strong leadership. Dexter used to say, the speed of the leader, the speed of the group. So when Ed called me, not one time did he mention the compensation plan. He talked to me about you, about your character, about what you value, about what he saw in you. And he sounded like the woman at the well.
Wow.
I used to do that sermon. Said he asked, I used to do the sermon, and the sermon was, she said, he asked me for some, I didn't give him none, and then he went and told it all over town. He asked her for water, and she didn't give him no water, and then she went and told it all over town. But these dirty-minded people came to hear something else. So let me get back to you. So I didn't know what the product was. Yeah, he did mention insurance. I said, okay. But he had my attention talking about you. And I said, I want to meet him. And that's why I said, get him on the phone. Don't think that people leave as you have expressed because of the compensation plan. Will you lose some people? Yes. Amway is one of the worst compensation plans in the world. Limited compensation. People did not leave because of the relationship. The relationship. And so you have a relationship with a friend of mine that I respect, who respects you, and said, you need to meet him. And I said, okay, I'm in. And so you be who you are. You are the money. People buy into you. And things are going to change in your business. Mm-hmm. Quincy Jones is right. Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. When things are good, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. When things are bad, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. This thing called life, it's a roller coaster. Yeah. Sometimes things go well. Sometimes they don't go so well. What is the sustaining competitive advantage that you will have over companies that come into your space? Trust, character. T.D. Jakes has a quote, Lord, don't let my talents take me where my character can't keep me. So people who believe in you will stick with you through thick, high water, and hell because of you. That's how it's built, the relationship. That's the new currency in this space, because people want to know, can I trust you? Can I believe in you? Are you for real? And so you're being who you are and how you serve people and how you're showing up That's powerful leadership built upon integrity and walking your walk.
That's Lasco. Thank you so much, and much love to Ed Blunt and family.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here's something. I want you to listen to me very closely. I have a message for you. Releasing the past and embracing the newness of life. The newness of life. And when you do that, you're willing to make a radical change on how you show up. When I was in pursuit of my goal and dream of becoming a motivational speaker, before I got any speaking engagements, I used to, and I'm talking about to be paid, I used to go to the shopping mall after walking around Belle Isle for about 5 or 6 times in Detroit, saying I'm the world's greatest orator. I wasn't being braggadocious. I hadn't even been paid to speak yet, but I was calling forth those things that be not as though they were. And then I would get dressed up and go to the shopping mall. And I want you to write this down, 3 feet principle. 3 feet principle. That I practice the 3 feet principle. And that, and that is, talk to people. Write this down. I practice talk to people. I would talk to anybody that got within 3 feet of me. Hi, my name is Les Brown, and I'm a motivational speaker. Do you or anyone you know that can use my services? And if that doesn't work, guess what? I'll talk to more people. It's called a TTP principle, a TTM principle. Write this down. TT, talk to people, and then talk to more people. TTMP. About your business, about your product, about the things that you want to do with your life and where you're going. And you have no idea on how that's going to manifest itself. You have no idea. If you just listen to me every day, I'm gonna give you something to do. You get an assignment, and the assignment now is talk to people, the TTMP, talk to more people. And we're gonna do this all virtually, because I'm not going out to shopping mall now. I don't go to shopping mall. I'm in the house. I don't go anywhere. Tyrone and I, we stay in the house. We keep social distancing from each other. Well, if you didn't know, Tyrone is a squirrel. That he taught me squirreling. We talk to each other every day. So back on point. And so therefore, you want to find ways to communicate and reach people and talk to a minimum of 7 people every day about your goal, about your dream, and ask, do you or someone you know that will be helpful to me? Case in point, I was catching a plane from Detroit. I was living at the Riverfront Apartments to Chicago, and maybe about 5 people on the plane. I sat by a guy named Lafayette Jones. I don't know what happened to Lafayette Jones. Somebody out there know Lafayette Jones. And we both were born on February the 17th. It's our birthday. I said, you born February 17th? He said, yes. I said, so was Michael Jordan and Jim Brown. He said, is that right? He said, what do you do? I said, I'm glad you asked. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm going to become known and famous for that. Can you or someone you know use my services? He said, whoa. He said, man, I work for Robert Johnson Products, and our speaker canceled. He said, are you good? I said, that's what people say. He said, how much do you charge? At that time, I didn't know how much to charge. Listen to this. Listen to the, are you listening? I said, how much have you allocated? He said, $5,000. I looked at him. Are you all right, brother? I said, did you say $5,000? He said, yes. Well, I didn't answer right away because I didn't want to speak in unknown tongues. Oh my goodness! I never had $5,000 for a speech in my life. I got love offerings for $5 and $25 that showed that they didn't love you anymore. We love you, but Jesus loves you more. I said, yes. So then, but I furthered the conversation. I said, Lafayette, I'm going to be on the Robert Schuller show. He said, is that right? Yes, millennials, this used to be a nationally televised ministry. He said, when? I said, I don't know exactly. Do you know Robert Schuller or know someone who knows Robert Schuller? He said, yes, my boss does. He gave him $1 million for his ministry. I said, are you kidding? Now, mind you, I've been saying this and asking this question for 2 years. Did anybody that got within 3 feet of me, I would say I'm a speaker? Do you or someone you know can use my services? And I'm going to be on the Robert Schuller show. Televised ministry. You got to call forth those things that be not as though they were. There's power. You, as a friend of mine, billionaire PA, speak your dream into existence. And he said, my boss knows him, Robert Johnson. I said, is that right? I did the event. I spoke. At the end, I got a standing ovation. And Mr. Johnson ran to the podium. He said, who are you? I said, I'm Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. He said, man, you were good. You saved the day. He said, man, if I can ever do anything for you, let me know. I said, do you know Robert Schuller? He said, yes, I gave $1 million to his ministry. I said, I want to be on his program. He said, you got it. The next day at Riverfront Apartments, I got a phone call. Hello? Hi, this is Les Brown. This is Robert Schuller. Robert Schuller? Yes. Wow. Wow. Hold it just a minute. I got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Put the phone down, ready. It's number one. It's number one. Then I came back. Hello? You can't make this stuff up. I was so excited. He said, I heard you're a very good speaker. I said, that's what people say. My mother taught me self-praise brings no recommendation. He said, I want you on my program. And he scheduled me, and I went in and I did the show 2 different times. Listen to me. You got through 2020. Against all odds, you showed up. You have favor with God. You showed up. There is something that you're supposed to do. And it's not the same thing you've been doing already. Make a radical change. All of us are the same way. The only thing that separates us are the choices and our behaviors. Listen to me. Our choices, our behavior, our habits. We'll be a team, a community of greatness, of people working on their goals and their dreams. Because you can't do it by yourself. Especially now, all this stuff that's going on right now. No. I cut my hair because I don't want to see the same person in the mirror in 2021 that I saw in 2020. No, I'm working on myself. Got on a scale, and it was less of me today than yesterday because I'm serious. See, you got to be serious. Yeah, no. You got to be serious. You got to hunker down. You've got to be anchored in your mind. Why? Because we don't know what's coming. Life is stalking us. Look behind and thank God. I want you to do that right now. Just look behind right now. Just reflect on this past year in your life. And you woke up this morning. You woke up. Just so many ways you could have been taken out. So today, I want you to visualize the goal that you want to achieve. Because the foundation, you got to build the foundation. But I want you to make a commitment. I've made a commitment to take better care of myself, to get off my medication. I made a commitment to be more productive, to be more impactful. I made a commitment to at least keep a closer contact and build closer relationships with my family and with my friends. I've made a commitment, have more quiet time and exercise and doing the things that will indicate that I plan to die young at an old age, taking care of myself. You owe this to yourself. You have something special. You have greatness in you. And in order to get that greatness out, only 1% of people achieve greatness. Only to do that and have the kind of impact you want to make in the world, got to be hungry. Got to be hungry. And for those of you that want to speak, I got something for you too. Got some videos. I want you to go to hungrytospeak.com. hungrytospeak.com. And I'm giving both of these away. Yes, why? God's been so good to me. I'm here because of his grace and mercy, and I'm thankful for you. You're listening to me, for your honoring me with your presence, with your listening to the products that I produce, and you're making the dramatic changes in your life as somebody spoke to me, and I became a different kind of person. I want to be to you what Mike Williams has been to me. I want to be to you what Mr. Leroy Washington has been to me. I want to be to you what my mother has been to me. And some of you call me Pops. They say they call me Pops now. I'd be you, the oldest one in the group, but my spiritual sons and daughters. Now, when you practice, listen to me, listen. When you make a commitment, if you're serious about your goals and dreams, because I've been reviewing this, when you make a commitment to do what you can, where you are with what you have, and never be satisfied, and be singularly focused, focus on something you want to do that's important to you, not to anybody else, that's important to you. And every day you take action steps at the beginning of the year. Why? Because it's easy to become a victim of weapons of mass distractions. To be distracted, you miss some steps. So I'm giving you something simple and practical to do. Just talk to 7 people about your dream. That's all I'm asking you to do. 7 people for 7 days. 7 days. And for 7 days, don't speak anything negative about yourself, about anybody. In the beginning was the Word. Death and life is in the tongue. Listen, Book of Life says, death and life is in the tongue. Why? Because we speak more death. Speak life, speak positive words. When you find yourself and you slip and you say something negative, say, cancel that. Cancel that. Yes. And don't speak anything negative about anybody else. No, don't do that. 7-day mental diet. When you find yourself, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on. Listen to me. This is how I got here. So when you find yourself thinking negative thoughts because of the weapons of mass distractions, just say, cancel that. See, we can't control the thoughts that come in our minds, but we can control the thoughts that we dwell on.
Do you know if there's another father and daughter duo that do what you do anywhere in the world? I'm trying to think. Is there anyone?
I don't know.
No, we're the first family of motivation.
Yes.
You are.
Yeah.
So you must be enormously proud about that.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about that.
Well, but here's the shocking part. Are you ready for it? She's also my coach.
No, shut up, really?
She said to me one day, Daddy, are you coachable? I'm saying to myself, I know she's not asking me. I won the highest award from Toastmasters International, inducted into the National Speakers Hall of Fame, and selected among the top 5 speakers in the world. You're gonna ask me, am I coachable by you? So I said, yes, I am, reluctantly. And then she pointed out something in my presentation that I've been doing for years. And I became very humble. I said, you got a point. And I made the adjustment that she told me. And it made all the difference in the world. So I said, well, will you coach me forever?
Oh, wow.
And I don't invoice them either. But I think this is a good point. I want to bring this out because I think Spencer can do something with this. Because I love your mind, the way it thinks, right? So Dad used to say in his presentation for years that one of the hardest things that he did, one of the easiest things he ever did was to earn $1 million. One of the hardest things he ever did was to believe it could happen to him. And so I said in the coaching, I said, Dad, when you say it could happen to you, it's almost as if you're positioning as if you won the lotto. There's no ownership. I said, it didn't happen to you. You studied, you journaled, you did the work, you went to workshops, you took training, you went to stages and spoke for sometimes chicken dinners. Like you paid dues and you had this vision that you built and developed. And so it's not that it happened to you, it's that the easiest thing you ever did was to earn $1 million. The hardest thing you ever did was to believe that you could do it. He said, whoa.
Yes.
And
That's
then he
real.
shifted. He never said that again, but he had been saying that for years and no one caught it.
A lot of people don't identify with that either, do they? It's kind of like the apprenticeship as you go through it. They don't realize what they're learning along the way.
Right.
And also a lot of people don't feel like they're worth it.
Right.
They don't feel that they have any inherent value. And so because they don't feel they have a value, they can't always believe what's possible. Does that make sense to you?
Totally.
Yes, the area of feeling deserving is so major, particularly if you live in a culture where you've been marginalized and your sense of self has been destroyed. There's a guy named Richard Wright who wrote, he was a very profound thinker and poet. He said, the impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experiences of life. And because of what he went through, he wrote a book called The Invisible Man, that he had lost his sense of self and he didn't even think about dreaming because of life was so brutal to him to keep him down. And so there are so many people around the world. I'm looking at things on television about slavery and people being kidnapped and sex slaves and all these types of things. Dehumanization is more prevalent now than ever before. Oh, yes, we're just exposed to the information on it.
Right.
And so we have a lot of work to do. And in the work that we're doing, my goal is, I believe that we should speak to bring life and to give hope, because when there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. And that we're very fortunate to be here and to be able to still make a difference, to build a legacy. We feel that evil prevails when good men and women do nothing. And so we see speaking from a perspective that is cause-centered. I believe it's been hijacked by speaking to sell. But I believe that when you speak, you distract, dispute, and inspire. How people live their lives as a result of the story they believe about themselves. And so you distract them from that story. Through the execution of your speaking, you create an experience that allow them to begin to see themselves differently, to get out of their history into their imagination. You expand their minds, you touch their heart and ignite their spirit. And they leave there being, as Mother Teresa would say, a pencil in the hand of God, and start writing a new chapter in their lives.
That's really profound to me. Tony Robbins was talking to me about Operation Underground Railroad with the children and the people that are brought out of sex slavery.
Yes.
And what they do. And that's the fastest growing criminal network in the world.
Yes.
And those people that have been exposed to that and experienced that, first of all, don't look at what the future looks like. They just dwell on the scenario and the environment that they've been involved with. And they do need to be inspired. They do need to, as you just described it there, just beautifully, ignite that fire back in them, because there's a lot of people that have gone through a lot of tough times.
Yes.
And a lot of us don't remember how lucky we are. A lot of the times we take for granted, don't we? And we dwell on our sorrows. And these types of people that come from that place and build again, are always going to need support. And people like you, I believe, give that inspiration to people. I mean, think about it. Those motivational videos that you see on YouTube, 1 in a million doesn't have your voice on. All of the others do. They're you. And so your voice moves people, It impregnates people in some part of their body, their mind somehow, and makes them want to charge forward. And that's a very powerful and strong place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that who you are behind the words that you speak, when I'm training speakers, and that's where my life is now, you learn, you earn, you pass it on. And when I'm working with speakers, I say to them, who you are behind the words are far more important than the words that you speak. And so it's very important. We first work on the messenger and then on the message. I'm merely an inspirational speaker for a Jewish carpenter, but that's another conversation, all right? So, but self-development, that we have people speaking and inspiring people to live their dreams, and they haven't done anything.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
So you want to raise the bar on yourself. You want to be the example. You want to be the message. You want to be congruent with the words that you're speaking. Don't practice what you preach, but preach what you practice.
For folks that are here and watch this conversation that say, absolutely, I agree. I want better. I know I deserve better. But I've been in this position that I'm in here for a little while. How do I start this process? I see the vision on where I could be, but I'm here right now. What say you? What happens tomorrow? What's a practical thing that folks can do when they get up?
Is don't do what you just did. When you and your friend got together and you had a vision of manifesting this, you had no one to go and talk to and ask, how do we do it? This place, this concept did not exist. Our favorite book says, commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So you have to just make the commitment. Nothing happens until you make the commitment. Nothing works until you work. You put in the work for this to take place. And let's use work as an acronym. W, the willingness to do what's required. The willingness to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. The O stands for ownership mindset. You created a place, a space. Space is very important because God made a space for us before he made us. He didn't just make us and had us dangling in the air. We need a space that we can come to that allow us to create a community so that we can begin to take each other to a place in ourselves that we can't go by ourselves. That's what Mr. Washington did for me on that particular day. The R stands for reinvent yourself. That thinking that got you here won't serve us in this new environment. We're in this place where Peter Drucker said that we must be willing to unlearn, learn, and relearn so that we can navigate where we are right now. And the K stands for kindred spirits, that when you are around people that's going in the direction of where you are going, that what it does is it challenges you. It creates a synergy. It allows you to do things that you could not do by yourself because of the relationships that you're around that hold you accountable to a higher standard. I met a young man named Mike Williams, and I wish all of you write this down. He wrote a book called The Road to Your Best Stuff. and you look so much like the young Mike Williams. And he was my newsman. I was disc jockey at WVKO radio station in Columbus, Ohio. He saw this Les Brown before I saw this Les Brown. He was my newsman. He said, "Brownie." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, you can do more than be a disc jockey. It's very important for you to have someone," and this is the value of the gathering spot, a positive connection that will believe in you until your belief kicks in. And I said, "Come on, Mike." I couldn't imagine what he told me I could do. He said, "Man, you can change people's lives around the world." I said, "Are you kidding me?" At that time, I was LB Triple P, Les Brown, your platter plant popper. There were none before me, and there will be none after me. Therefore, that makes me the one and only. Young and single and love to mingle, certified, bona fide, indubitably qualified to bring you satisfaction, a whole lot of action. Look out, baby, I'm your love man. I was hungry. And so he saw this dude, and I'm thinking,
I would have seen him too.
I'm a disc jockey, man. And I said, what do you think I can do other than this? I thought, have you ever had somebody see something in you that you didn't see in yourself? Yeah. And he said, "Les, I see you going to these seminars and these workshops." He said, "I hear you quoting Malcolm and Dr. King all the time." He said, "What's in them, it's also in you." I was Les Brown, the man about town at that particular time. And I said, "What you talk about, Willis?" But he worked with me. We're still together to this day. And he helped me to begin to see what he saw. And it was a process.
When did you see it for yourself?
It was an ongoing process, but I think that the deciding moment was when I spoke in the Georgia Dome. There's a video that's on the internet. Millions of people have viewed it, called "It's Not Over Till You Win." And the guy that invited me, Dexter Yeager, he did not like me at all. He'd never had a black person on his stage as a motivational speaker. He had a choice of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn. And he asked me, "Do you know why I asked you to come?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I need someone who can command this audience." I said, "Oh." And he said, "I don't like you." And I didn't ask him why. I had to remember why I was there. And I just kept thinking, if he's chosen me to do this, I'm not interested in getting into an argument with this dude, okay? Mike Williams said, "Brownie, keep the main thing the main thing." So he said, "I don't like niggers." And as I was sitting there, Liberty City was about to come out. And I remember something that Mike told me. He said, "Anger is a wind that blows out the lamp of the mind." I decided not to get angry. And I didn't answer and I didn't respond. And I know he wanted a response from me. He said, "But there's something about you. You speak from your heart. And I need someone to command this audience. And you don't speak from your head, you speak from your heart. And you've come from some hard times. And you are the one to do this job today." I said, "Thank you very much." And I was frightened. I thought they brought me there to speak to 500 people in a dining room area. And the guy said to me, "You Les Brown?" I said, "Yes." "Man, what is it like to speak to 80,000 people?" And I said, "I don't know." "You don't know?" I said, "No." He said, "Come here a minute." So he took me, he said, "Look out there. You see those people there? I said, yes. He said, that's who you're speaking to. I said, to them? He said, yes, all white audience. I took off and started running down the hall. He said, where are you going? I said, to the bathroom, but it's number 1. So they called Mike and said, Les is in the bathroom and he won't come out, because I couldn't hear the voices in my head. And he said, Brownie, you're scared, aren't you? I said, yes. Brownie, can you hear me? I said, yes. I said, Mike, it's 80,000 people. I've never spoke to an audience that large before. He said, so what? They came to hear you. You didn't come to hear them. I said, Mike, oh my goodness, I can't hear the voices. He said, Brownie, just remember these words: distract, dispute, and inspire. He said, do it for your mother. I said, man, don't use my mama against me. He said, you always said you wanted to buy her home. If you make this happen, man, this will be a big deal. People around the world will see this, and it will be a deciding point in your speaking career. Do it for your mother. She's going to tell the neighbors about it. She's going to say, that's my boy. I'm so glad that I adopted them. And I said, okay. I came out and started walking toward the stage. And when I went up the steps, he looked at me and he said, you got this. I said, you believe in me, Mike? He said, yeah. You can do this. I said, thank you, man. Because I never had a father. He's just 2 years older than me. But he was like a father said to his son, you can do this. And I felt it in my heart. And I took that microphone and I went out there and I wore him out.